Welcome, everybody, to the conclusion of what is definitely wrapping up to be one of the more epic best-of-3 match series that has come across my possession here in recent times. We do have Catz of Complexity Gaming spawning as the Yellow Zerg up in the top left position. His opponent is going to be none other than EGAxslav of Team Evil Geniuses up in the top right. The series is currently 1-1, so this third and final match will take place on the map Shakura's Plateau. Already, one thing I want to point out here, we do have Catz not worrying about building any more drones here. You see he is dropping down a 7 pool, so we're going to definitely have some very early pressure coming from him. He may look to try to end this very early. One thing I do want to point out right off the bat, the Overlord is heading over in this direction, and with the pylon going down here, it may mean that he is going to try to D-up this ramp, which I don't really know if he's going to be able to do in time. This ramp is definitely much wider than this one, so it is going to take a few additional structures to actually wall this completely off. Will he have it ready in time? It remains to be seen. This is, like I said before, this has definitely turned out to be a very entertaining series. Of course, one thing you have to keep in mind, not only the entertainment value isn't based on the merits of both of these players alone from this particular series, but also, ooh, nice double extractor there. Probably cancel that and get some Zerglings. Yep, sure enough, there we go. Going to be going with the 6 Zerglings. But anyways, what I was going to say was, not only have these been 2 very exciting matchups so far, but remember, this is actually this is not the first time in recent history these 2 players have met. EGAxslav did actually defeat Catz in the 2011 Dire Straits show match. So Catz is going to be looking for some revenge here, as EGAxslav currently working on his wall. You see the Overlord popping over here, saw that the spawning position is right there. Zerglings are on their way as we speak. There's the completed wall off with the cannon, but will it be enough in time? I don't know. That photon cannon is about 25% complete, and 4 Zerglings already looking to take down those pylon. A 5th one's going to get in there as well. This will definitely go down, leaving EGAxslav very vulnerable. He is acutely aware of the situation. So you see, is that even proper English? No, I don't think so. But anyways, look at that. He's actually committing several probes to trying to attack, but not all of them here. And now he's being forced to retreat, realizing he is not going to be able to get the damage that he needs in order to get rid of those Zerglings. So now we are going to have some back and forth running around here as Catz looks to try to pull out just a few probes, get in there, maybe pick off 1 or 2, edge him down just a tiny bit. Of course, some nice micro there by EGAxslav, taking the weak probes away, putting them back on the mineral line, and keeping a few probes mining there even as we speak. So now they are fighting tooth and nail in this little choke spot, with EGAxslav actually suffering some major casualties so far. Look at that, 9 workers killed already, and we're not even 5 minutes into the game yet. So units lost, you could see, or resources rather, definitely a huge hit for this early in the game. So like I said, EGAxslav is definitely going to be looking to go on a very quick rebound here, or else this game will surely be lost. Taking such heavy losses that early in the game really can set you back for the entire match. Now look at this, of course, that probe actually heading down. He did see the drone kind of running parallel to him there on the edge of the screen, so he knows that an expansion is going to be going down. Looking over here, you see he's not actually looking to seal this off. He doesn't have any zealots. Of course, if he were to do that, he would probably drop another building right here and throw in a zealot. But he is content with staying on what he has right now, just trying to save up for that expansion. This is going to be his saving grace if he's able to hold on, having that extra ability to produce more probes, and more importantly, that second chrono boost, man. He is definitely going to be working this thing overtime, trying to get his probe count back up as we see 17 to 26, so that's 16 to 23 on the harvester count so far. Of course, Catz, having realized that he did gain a pretty substantial mineral advantage there, is continuing to just drone like a madman. You see he's actually sitting on about 100 gas right now. We'll see exactly what he's going to do with that, though. No metabolic boost just yet. But, I mean, hey, if he wants to sit on it for something else, maybe we can certainly give him the freedom to do so. Looking over at the Protoss base, you see he has dropped the cybernetics core, so that is going to kind of fill out that wall off a little bit. But still, no units to fill in that little hole. I guess really at this point, he knows his opponent is going to try to rebound very fast and capitalize on that early economic advantage that he did gain by doing that very successfully very successful early attack. So he's not too worried about getting taking some more Zerglings. But looking over here, you see that he is indeed quite correct. Now look at the worker count. Seriously, 21 to 33. Of course, this Nexus is now complete. The probes have transferred, but you notice that transfer was significantly smaller than his opponent here. And a Stargate is going down. Now, the Stargate will be very effective if it's not scattered. We'll wait and see if it actually is. As you see, it is right here in the middle of the base, right beside the Nexus. There is one Overlord parked over here, one over here. You see it's actually getting ready to head in. And, I mean, hey, why not? If Catz knows that his opponent is going to be a little bit behind and not quite as likely to have some of those units that would be able to take out the Overlords, Stalkers, Sentries, etc. Certainly that we do see the Stalker is being chrono boosted now on the way. It is in a little bit of panic mode. He really wants to deny scouting, because once this Stargate is revealed, then the Zerg player can adapt very, very easily. He can just drop down a couple Spore Crawlers, get an extra queen or two. You see, he would only be producing queens off of one hatchery here, since he is well on his way to tier 2 as we speak. Also, that metabolic upgrade we were talking about just a moment or two ago is now complete. Oh, and there we go, man. There's the Stargate being revealed by the Overlord. So I would definitely say that information was worth the 100 minerals and the slight drop in supply there. Speaking of supply, look at this now, 42 to 61, as we see the Protoss players actually, no, he won't be supply blocked, just getting that pylon in there at the very last second. But look at the harvester count now, 37 to 49, so we are just kind of continuing to seeing that early advantage snowball into something ever so slightly greater here on Shakura's Plateau. Now working on 4 gas, you can see the Zerg player definitely sitting in a great position there. He did make a spine crawler and a few Zerglings. I mean, hey, that's pretty much good for anything. I mean, why not? So looking over here, do want to point out that while we were discussing that, the instant that the Zerg player saw this Stargate, he dropped an evolution chamber. So he's also got a Hydralisk in as well. So he's more than prepared to deal with this. Also, decent spread of the creep here in the middle will actually allow the Zerg player to catch up to this Void Ray. This Void Ray actually, his only 2 kills so far are 2 Overlords, which is actually pretty good. But even you look at the Zerg player right now, you can see he is definitely sitting in a very solid position. And another Void Ray getting ready to come over here, this time hitting the Zerg main base. He will be running directly into an Overseer and a Spore Crawler. Sees the Overseer. This is a good opportunity. Very solid kill right there. He will be able to hit himself 100 gas and 50 minerals from that, and a queen actually getting well off of the creep as well, trying to bait the Void Ray back to the Spore Crawler here. But you see, now the Hydras have definitely made their way onto the map, going to be able to drive off this Void Ray without too much difficulty. Now, EGAxslav realizing that the result of this, he knows that having gone air and the fact that the Zerg player saw at the instant, that thing went down, that the Zerg was going to go very heavy anti-air. You see, he's done exactly that. He's gone basically all 3 avenues: Queens, Evolution Chamber with the Spore Crawler, and Hydras. Of course, having that extra gas has also allowed him to get the upgrade for transport for Overlords, as well as the range pretty much right out of the gate for those Hydras. So that means that looking over here in the Protoss base, you actually don't see a lot in the way of ground forces. A couple Stalkers, that's about it. And the nice thing now, of course, you do have a few additional reinforcements out here, a couple of sentries as well, just kind of hanging out. Try to get this 3rd base, which again I think is a very smart move, especially considering the fact that Catz has this over here. But, oh man, we do indeed have a drop coming. Notice there's no upgrades coming from the Evolution Chamber just yet, but the Protoss player is continuing to warp in Stalkers, which is a pretty interesting choice considering Hydras very effective against Stalkers, and considering that the Stalkers do have a range of 6, with the Hydras also having the upgrade, they will be able to match the range, also being 6. And now they are making their way up here into the main base, which you see is actually drawing the main army away from the expansion over here. So while this attack takes place up here, which you see the Zerg is kind of half committed to right there, kind of getting drawn out, you see the Hydras and the Zerglings right there. So those running on the mini-map are going to be taking out this expansion without too much resistance. So this will help the Zerg player maintain his economic advantage through the sacrifice of a few Hydras up here, and one Queen who has just invented a new dance move. I don't even know what that was, or if it's even legal in the continental United States. But for now, the Strop is continuing to keep the Protoss army very busy. It's just enough to keep the full army up here. Now, one thing I want to point out right now, you just saw that last wave of Stalkers was warped in up there at the main. He probably could have warped those in down here and taken some of the pressure off of the Nexus. You see, it is indeed going to fall without any resistance down here whatsoever, and that is really going to set EGAxslav behind even more. I do like how he placed the Creep Tumor there. Very, very nice little subtle move by Catz, spreading the creep with the Overlords and then dumping that down at the last second. So, as a result of that, look at that, 27 workers now, and yes, definitely 53 to 38, but still, that is just such a huge hit on the income. You saw the Roach Warren is indeed going down as we speak, and there we go, there's the result. The Protoss player has been able to kind of catch up, 53 to 57, but the Zerg player, having that solid income so much earlier, is in a great position. Even after that drop, he was able to recover very quickly, dropping an Infestation Pit, going Roach Warren, got a whole slew of upgrades on the way, and 114 to 97 on the supply. Looks like that poor Overlord just not quite fat enough to carry those extra 12 Hydras or so, just kind of leaving those behind at the lower part of the cliff. But now, we can actually just look at the unit composition here and see 17 Hydras total on the map, 18 Stalkers. Definitely Zerglings will be well equipped to deal with those as well, as these Hydras are actually, they're on the move command. Oh no, pretty heavy losses there from Catz, losing about 400 minerals, 200 gas or so to the Stalkers. Very nice blink there as well. Do you think that blink upgrade is going to be essential if he's going to continue to try to go with that Stalker play? Nice Hydra drop there in the main. Going to stop mining even more. We can just watch the income tab while we continue here. Look at the Harvester count now, 47 to 70. Zerg player has definitely been droning like a crazy man, getting this extra expansion down here saturated. All the while keeping the probe count down for EGAxslav. Now, as a result of that, we can see the workers killed has gone to 0 to 39. Very, very nice indeed. So, we did the Pathogen Glance upgrade on the way, and I think we have a couple infestors already on the map. Did I see any? No, I guess they are still just the ones in production, and that is actually it. But I think it's interesting how the Protoss is still just working on those solid upgrades, which I think is a very good thing. And just sticking with Stalkers only, though. You know, he did force, okay, there's the Robotics Bay going down. That's what I was looking for. He did force the Zerg to go very heavy anti-air. He got those light Hydra units, and then he ended up making a bunch of Stalkers. The blink upgrade, very good thing, but I do like the timing of the attack that the Zerg player did. Very, very solid. Caught the Protoss before he was able to get that blink tech and really be a threat to those Hydras. One thing I do want to point out here is that Catz sending all these Overlords, I think is actually making EGAxslav wonder if there's going to be a drop. So you see he did kind of do a half blink up here into the main, not fully committing the Stalkers, which I think is going to end up really well for him there. But the fungal growth is going to keep this bunch here nice and tightly packed, and another fungal down here actually just going to force EGAxslav to run away. And look at the supply count now throughout all of this, 110 to 176. So you see now how this is just looking more and more in favor of Catz here. 113 to 175. You could see the income very solid, 82 to 59. I don't think we're going to see too many more drones coming from Catz here as he does approach the 100 mark. But oh man, does he have the ability to field a nasty army. Roach, Hydra, Ling, and Fester running around midfield uncontested. Of course, the Protoss knows this is here, as the Zerg is actually going to be trying to bust up not the easiest position to attack. Even with the fungal growth lying there, trying to run into this choke position while the Protoss does have this nice concave. Very, very difficult to actually pull that off. In with the cannon support there, it's going to limit the Zerg's ability to run in there and do any more damage. Now that EGAxslav has wrapped up that attack, we'll wait and see if he actually tries to counter. I do not know. In the meantime, the Overlords are actually all piled up, fairly vulnerable up here. It looks like he will indeed try to counterattack. Don't think there's a lot the Zerg player can do about this right at this point before, yeah, that hatchery does go down. So the Protoss coming out with a clean hatchery kill there. Finally has one Colossus on the field. The 2 weapons upgrade actually going to be allowing that thing to do a ton of damage. Weapons 3 is on the way, as well as extended thermal lance. And of course that Spire on the way will be able to get some Corruptors here very soon. And now the tables have turned. The Zerg is able to defend here in this very solid position. Even with the force fields, they are able to take down the Colossus. Look at all those roaches running around back there. You see Protoss actually trying to draw the Zerg away from the rest of the forces, afraid of that fungal growth potential that could be landing on the Stalkers. Current supply 110, 112 to 180, so still very heavily favored for the Zerg, at least in terms of the supply. We can look at the income now and see that it has kind of evened out for the minerals. The big discrepancy there is in the gas. That is where it is at for sure. So you see that this expansion's looking pretty good, and Zerg is actually trying to bust up the rocks to get up to this expansion, which of course he is losing some serious Overlord coverage right there, with them still hanging out right over here. That did actually allow him to see this expansion, although I'm not really convinced that he's going to be able to shut this down here, given the positioning. You see the Protoss does indeed have that nice partial surround with the Colossus coming through here, and more reinforcements coming up the ramp, and a blank there catching the Infestors, forcing them to retreat down to the cover of what's soon to be a fresh batch of Roach Infestor, just right out of the oven. This is asking for a fungal growth right there. Sure enough, we do have one. As Stalkers are warped in, they actually will be able to hold their own here, but will they be able to hold their own for long? That is going to be the question. The Zerg, like I said before, has some great army reproduction power, and look at those infested Terrans, very nicely placed, forcing the Protoss player to retreat away from this position and allowing them in time to run back and save his own units. Now look over here, we do have one Overlord dropping a few Zerglings down into the natural expansion. I think that was just kind of sit on autopilot though, as the cannon. I mean, 4 Zerglings versus a cannon, really, who do you think is going to win that fight? But I think it did provide a momentary distraction at best for EGAxslav. And looking here, you see 76 to 91. So Catz going even further with the drones now, getting plenty of Corruptors. You see he's also got even more upgrades on the way. Looking here, you see that he is going to try to hold this expansion. Plenty of probes actually just kind of chilling out right now. I think they are on a lunch break. Even those 2 are actually refusing to work. I can hear them right now. They just want to sit around and make waka waka noises because they are just amazing probes like that. But hey man, anything to help close the gap here, as 193 to 118 is not a desirable position. Notice actually for a while the Protoss has been slightly heavy on the gas. Not quite able to spin that down, but still, even though the fact that he's a little gas heavy right now, I think that he can make do. Zerg, of course, on the other hand, yeah, I mean, you look at his money, you look at his gas, what's he going to do with it? He's already got a ton of upgrades on the way. He's maxed, he's been maxed for some time. He is just such solid spot right now that I would not be surprised if you saw him try to attack again here in the near future and keep EGAxslav down. He is trying to take down the man here on Shakuris Plateau with his 4 bases, kind of 4.5 there, as he is long distance mining, just waiting for this creep to go away. Which, of course, you see that is rescinding as we speak. Final patch gone. Of course, Protoss looking to do a little bit of harassment. Look at this, man. Holy spine crawlers. Dropping that down. He is actually down to 195 supply. So plenty of those. He is going to be able to have some very nasty defense if he decides to actually keep these. Do want to point out that while he was doing that, he was getting several Broodlords there. And now he is 213 supply out of 200, canceling all of those at once, leaving a nasty bloody mess midfield. Ugh. Absolutely gross. Couple of Zerglings coming over here from a drop from Catz. Nice blink micro. EGAxslav able to take those out without suffering any casualties whatsoever. The only casualty being the bruised ego of an Overlord and several Zerglings there. Unfortunately, that loss of ego did end up translating into a loss of life for him. So Catz here in a good position to defend. Protoss definitely does not want to try to run out that spot to fight up against Infestor Broodlord Roach. That is just not a good spot at all. You see, it's interesting how he's actually splitting up his army just a little bit, leaving the Broodlords up here, more than capable of taking out a couple cannons, so that's not a big deal. Look at this, he's also retreating the drones away. Very smart move. Of course, EGAxslav still long distance mining up here. Protoss looking to take out this expansion. You see, this is just asking for a fungal growth right here, and I think actually he's still, yeah, keeping those drones way over here. Army actually heading back now, deciding to just go ahead and merge them once again, realizing with the Colossi there, the Stalkers very capable of defending themselves and taking out the Infestors should they stray too close. Probably want to wait for some of that Broodlord support, as they do actually head mid-map now. Now dropping more Spinecrawlers, possibly, I don't know. We'll see. That one might actually just be a defensive Spinecrawler. I think it's really funny the fact that I actually have to discern between the two uses in this game in particular. But here we go now. Protoss, very desirable position here to engage. You see that he just annihilated Catz's army. Wow, that is positioning at its finest right there, folks. But, you know, Catz is going to be able to reproduce that fairly quickly. You see he's 162, sitting on so much money right now. Poor EGAxslav has been riding the almost the bottom of the barrel hoe for a little while, doing a pretty good job. I mean, just keeping his money down, not letting it accumulate too much, like Catz has been forced to do by his excess supply so far in this game. But I mean, he has, let's see, has he dropped a Ultralisk Cavern? No, he has not. So he hasn't dumped that, but he certainly does have the money to do so. He might at some point. We'll wait and see. In the meantime, though, Broodlord Infestor is the name of the game. We also have a couple Overlords here loaded up with some roaches. May decide to go ahead and drop these around here in this part. You see, it's pretty vulnerable. A couple cannons up here. But Broodlord's actually banking left, man. Pretty hard left there indeed. Actually really cool to watch. I don't know why, but little things like that entertain me sometimes, especially when I'm tired right now, which we see that EGAxslav has actually been taking out this expansion. Great timing on that. Going to be catching that right as it pops, so no threat of cancellation. Infestors actually, oh no, running those into their death. Nothing being built as a result, so I'm just going to have to go ahead and assume that he wasn't actually trying to sacrifice those, waiting for that supply to loot up. Or free up, rather. Here we go, the Overlords dropping into the expansion for EGAxslav. Oh man, those probes are actually running away very quickly. Roaches should be able to take out those cannons. Do like the placement of this one right here to actually limit the amount of damage that those can do. The Roaches, of course, doing as much as they can. But on to more pressing matters here. We do have the Protoss player taking out the expansions one by one. Catz just letting them fall, keeping his army midfield here, taking out this expansion up here. And of course, he does have a little bit of a incursion. Not too much that he has to really worry about, though. This expansion going down. Zerg looks to actually contain the Protoss. Will he decide to engage here? That is going to be the question. As take one final look up here, this expansion now gone. Zerg moving into position even more over, or the Broodlords actually coming up here. Probably don't want to engage with them right here. Stalkers can take that out even in the range of the Archons. A great position. We try to hold him right here at the ramp. You see the Broodlords able to fire without too much difficulty there. Broodlings just charging in full speed. There's a very, very nice blink. Trying to get those Broodlords. Unfortunately, that nice blink turned very deadly very quickly as he inadvertently blinked into the range of several Infestors, which one mind control there, managing to take a Colossus there. And I think he will be able to wrap this up if he actually gets these Archons in range of the Broodlords, which you see they're not actually running away. He could be keeping this alive for a little bit longer, but unfortunately, they will be sacrificed there. So this expansion, gone. This one right here, you could see actually a ton of drones actually just burrowed. You see even the little gas blobs kind of poking up from the ground there, as if that's not an indication of drones buried. But that's okay, because the Protoss was able to actually hold off that attack. Just a few units remaining. That is it. Several more Broodlords are on the way, though, as the Zerg has dumped a lot of his money trying to make up for the loss of both of those expansions. Actually, all three of them, though. That is going to be a pretty hefty loss, but Roaches, very cheap at this point, very effective against the Archons. Of course, Archons, though, are just great at killing everything biological, even the structures, man. So good, as Catz has got those one hero drone, long-distance mining, managing to get out just in the nick of time. Zergling is going to be going down super quickly. Now, he does have one more Infestor on the way. I'll wait and see exactly what he's going to be doing that. If he decides to try to keep it with the Roaches, use it for defensive purposes, or if he's going to be a little bit more aggressive with it, try to take out a few probes here. We see that a ton of them. and he would be able to actually get a nice nice hit on the high ground there with a fungal growth. But, you know, there are plenty of stalkers running around on the map, I believe, here. Yep, that one would be a good spot for it. As this expansion is going down, drones, look at how many drones there are right there. Seriously, he could go and get a surround on that army right there, and if it weren't for the Archons, probably take him out. But as far as the army goes, 78 to 136 right now. Not a lot of production from either player. You see that EGAxslav is still very heavy on the gas as he is continuing to run around midfield looking for any opportunity that happens to come his way. Look at all these drones. You want to talk about opportunity? This is definitely it. Of course, the Zerg player realizing his own opportunity, taking this out as we speak. And oh man, Overlords are still parked up here. This is just kind of like the marker for Catz saying, oh look, an expansion's there. I think I'll just make my way up here and let's see about doing some old hardy damage. And oh, I don't really know why those Broodlings just kind of hover midair for like 3 seconds before they actually hit. Always very confusing. But down here we do have the Protoss actually in a pretty decent position. Unfortunately, his Archons were not in the front. That would have been very, very helpful. But there's the blink right there. The unfortunate thing for that is he actually blinked into a ton of roaches just waiting up there at the top, finishing off some stalkers over here, and this is going to put the Zerg player in a pretty good position here. But one Archon down, one stalker just about going down, and that's going to be the last Archon right there, as this expansion is finished off. Everything but the Nexus itself. You see all those units taken out without too much difficulty. And here's the army that's left over from Catz's minerals. You see both players riding the bottom of the barrel. There's the GG from EGAxslav realizing, you know what, that's my last source of income. Nothing here, no Nexus here, and well, good luck holding that or that. So that's going to wrap up this game, and yes, my voice definitely just cracked there. But yes, thank you guys again for watching. Like I said, this was a very, very fun series to watch. And you see Catz, he has his revenge now. EGAxslav and Catz are 1-1 with the tournaments. We'll see if they match up again. I'll see if I can catch the game and cast it here. Again, my name is Zanaris. If you like the videos, be sure to subscribe. If you really want to help me out, you know, subscribe it, like it, favorite, blah, blah, blah. You know the routine. You're like everybody in YouTube asks for this stuff because it actually does help. But anyways, I'm rambling. Thank you guys again. I'm out.